today we are bringing objects to life. Hello and welcome guys, ArmaganVideos here, and today with a new tutorial. As you might see, the format has changed up quite a little bit, but I hope you're still going to enjoy this, or maybe it's even better than before. Today we are going to bring objects to life by animating little arms and legs and facial expressions on them. And there's a guy called Sean Charmats, link is in the description below. And he owns a very successful Instagram account where he shares these cute little animations. Many people have asked how to create these animations, so there we go. We are going to create the characters in Illustrator and then import them back to After Effects to animate the characters and track them into your footage so that you can make your own little animations. In this tutorial I'm going to use two different videos with two different techniques, so make sure to watch them both. And in the description below you have some time markers to kind of bring a bit of structure into this tutorial. I hope you're really going to enjoy this. Leave a comment, like and subscribe if you do. And maybe you have some suggestions for new tutorials, so write them down in the comment box below. So without further ado, let's jump right into the tutorial. So there we are. Let's import our footage and drag our footage into the composition icon so it makes a perfect composition. And as you can see, it kind of lags a little bit, but once it's rendered, it's super easy to work with. First of all, let's save our project by pressing Ctrl S or Command S. Now I'm going to call it Living Objects Tutorial right there. Always save in case After Effects tries to mess up or anything. Be on the safe side. As you might see in my tutorials, there's a little bar underneath which shows the pressed keystrokes. And if you're not aware of the Mac OS X or Windows shortcuts, there's a little translation in the description below so you can get along a bit easier. Okay, so now go to Composition, save frame as, File, and save it as a PSD into the same destination where your AEP file is. Hit save and then render, and this single frame will be rendered. And yeah, we need this in Illustrator to actually draw our little character into this screen right there. So now drag and drop this frame that we've just created into Illustrator. And make sure to lock it and double click the layer to dim images to 50% so that we don't get distracted. Now click on this little icon right here and create a new layer, and we are going to call it drawing. Yeah. As you can see, our foreground color is white, and by clicking on the red crossed square right there, you're getting rid of it. Then double click the path color and make it complete black, just like this. Now press P to get the pen tool and click once to create an anchor point, and click elsewhere and drag, don't let go of the mouse, to create a nice and round shape. Next up, go to the stroke settings. There it is, and let's give it a weight of 12 points and a round cap, just like this. Now we are going to copy our arm by holding down Alt or Option, then pressing Shift and O to reflect our arm, and then pressing R to reset our little cyan colored anchor point. Just drag it to the beginning and drag a few pixels to the right, so that it kind of acts like a shoulder, so the arm pivots from there. Next up, we're going to choose our ellipse tool and create a nice and round circle by holding Shift and Alt and dragging, just like this. And by pressing Shift and X, you can swap the fill and stroke color, because we want two filled circles right here and no strokes on the eyes. Let's see if we can change up the arms a little bit better, but yeah, let's get rid of the left one because we want them to be equal. And give it a weight of 15 points, should look good. And let's also create a mouth real quick. Just press P to get the pen tool and drag a round line just like this, so he kind of laughs a little bit. Now let's grab our arm again, hold down Alt or Option and Shift O to reflect it. Pretty basic stuff actually. If you're not familiar with the pen tool or Illustrator itself, make sure to watch my other tutorials. That shouldn't be a problem for you right here. So there we go, our cute little guy right there, our door handle got a little life and it looks cute already, but let's make the mouth not round because we're going to do this in After Effects just like this. Perfect. You will also find these files in the description below in case you're not capable of creating these in Illustrator or you don't even have Illustrator. That's not a big problem. I got you guys. So now I've created a little eye or another eye. This one is a squinched eye to kind of change it up later in After Effects. And it's a bit too thick, so let's make it 10 points should be enough. Now let's first of all group up our normal eyes, so select them both and press Ctrl or Command G. In the layers panel we can call them eyes now, and yeah, you can see that. Let's disable them. Now drag down our squinched eye, copy it by holding Alt and rotate it with O. And now use the rotation tool by pressing R again to kind of rotate it a bit in so he doesn't look that dumb. Yeah, bring this in a little bit more. Perfect, so now we got our squinched eyes and our normal eyes. Everything perfect right here, yeah. Select them both again, hit Ctrl G again, and they are grouped up in the layers panel. Now let's call them squinched eyes. Yep, perfect. They are our normal eyes and they are our squinched eyes, but they're, yeah, we need to move them up a little bit. By pressing the circle on the right of the layer panel, you can select shapes from the layer panel. And then I've used the arrow keys to kind of move them to our normal eyes. Okay, there we go. Now click this little icon in the layers panel that consists of the 3 lines and choose Release to Layers Sequence. So we can drag them out just like this, delete our normal drawing layer and oh, why? Ah yeah, they're in the layer. So if you scroll this down, you can see that our eyes are in there. And we don't need to drag them out, just leave it like this. Now call it squinched eyes, mouth, eyes, left arm and right arm. That's just so we can work better in After Effects. And that's it for the Illustrator part. Now let's disable the background image because we don't need it right here, and save this as well. I'm going to call this drawing. Boom, there we go. Don't change anything, hit OK. Now drag this into, or double click into your project and import our drawing as a composition, just like this. And now you've got this composition right here with all our vector files from Illustrator. Let's delete this out of our render queue because we don't need it anymore. And now select everything except of our background and bring it into our composition. And there it is, our little guy at the perfect position, our little door handle right there. And yeah, so let's sort them up a little bit because in Illustrator we had a different... Yeah, we had them differently sorted, so that's perfect. Now select everything, right click, create shapes from vector layer. And now we have usual After Effects shapes in our composition. Make sure to delete our .ai files because we don't need them anymore. And there you can see our arms are now actually paths within After Effects, and this makes it very easy to manipulate them, but it's not tracked to our door handle right now. So we're going to create a new null object. Oops. And we are going to rename it to controller, just like that, and drag it down, and drag down the mouth as well to keep things clean right here. Since our controller is a bit off, make sure to grab it and center the anchor point of it right to the middle of the mouth of our character right there. And now select all our shapes again and bring that rubber thingy right to the controller so they are all parented to our null. So if you're moving the null, our whole character moves with it. That's exactly what we want. So now I've got the move anchor point tool right there, and if you don't have it, you can download it for free. Just search for it, or you can use the pan behind tool to manipulate anchor points just like this. You don't need this tool, but I really like it. So I've just moved the mouth anchor point to the middle. For the right arm, I'm going to bring the anchor point to the top left. And for the left arm, I'm going to bring it to the top right. So it looks more realistic since it pivots from the shoulders again. So we can animate it very easily, and the eyes are going to get the anchor point right in the middle as well, but that's not that important. As I've mentioned, you don't need this tool, you can just bring them there with the pen behind tool, which is right next to the camera symbol right there on the top left. So perfect, everything's set up, and all we need to do now is track our little character to our footage. And let's see, first of all, what do we need to animate? Yeah, we need to track it and animate it, of course. Sorry, forgot to say this. So let's select our layers and twirl down right to the path and click on the stopwatch to make a keyframe. Because now we're going to animate the first seconds. We need the left arm, the right arm, and the mouth. So twirl everything down until you get the 3 paths. And dragging a bit to the left because we want to animate right here. Okay, so if my hand covers our little character, we want him to bring his arms together in a kind of safety position. And for this, press R while having the arm selected and hit the stopwatch to animate the rotation. Now bring the keyframe a bit to the left and animate the arm. And now it's very easily, you can actually see what you're doing right there, and the same for the right arm. Make a keyframe in the normal state, then go a bit to the right and bring it in by around 43 degrees, just like this. And now you also might understand why we've moved the anchor points to kind of make it look like they're moving from the shoulder. Okay, now let's focus on our mouth. Set a keyframe by changing the shape of our mouth. Make sure to press G to get the pen tool and then hold Shift while dragging on the anchor point to manipulate its shape. Yeah, maybe drag it up a little bit more so he looks more sad. Perfect. Poor little guy, looks really depressed. And since we got 2 keyframes in our path right here, After Effects kind of transitions between those 2 states and makes it look like as if he goes from a normal state to the sad state. Now what we need to do is grab our eyes and shrink down that layer, and right where it ends the squinched eyes should start, just like this, as you can see. Now in the beginning he's got the normal eyes, and right when I grab, or right before, he switches his eyes to the squinched eyes because he's very afraid of my hand. There we go. Pretty easy. And every time you're doing this thing with the eyes, make sure that it's parented to the controller. So now we can go to our controller right there and keyframe the position. So make sure to hit the stopwatch again, bring the position keyframe a little bit forward. And now we also need the rotation of our controller. And by pressing U, you can see every single property of our controller that has keyframes in it. And now we can actually start tracking our footage manually. Yes, manually. I've studied and analyzed almost 30 videos of Sean, and I came to the conclusion that he must be using some kind of program that's similar to After Effects, or maybe even After Effects. And because he's using some little strokes and all that, it really seems like if he's using After Effects, but I don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe he can write something down below if he's ever going to see this. And yeah, don't worry, it takes a lot of time. I also read an interview of him regarding his animations, and he said that he's spending several hours on this and animating frame by frame as well. So the master himself is going through this pain, and so should you if you want to create cool content. Yeah, stay at it. By pressing W, you can get the rotation tool, so you can actually change the rotation right in that composition. And we also need the scale to be keyframed, because once our little character goes back a little bit, it has to get smaller. So all you need to do now is grab our null object and move it along with the door handle. Just like this. I'm just moving the null, pressing W to rotate it a bit, and then shrinking the scale down a little bit. And this is all really much eyeballing because it shouldn't look too perfect. You can of course do it perfect, which is fine as well, but I think these kind of animations live from being a bit imperfect as well. So now I'm just fast forwarding the footage because this is a very repetitive task. You just need to move it, rotate it, scale it, and yeah, it should just follow the door handle right there. And now when it's rendered, you can see we get this. Boom, it's going back and coming to the front again. Just like this. So as you can see, it kind of glides on our door handle right here, and we need some more tweaking because, well, the tracking didn't went too perfect. Of course, I mentioned it shouldn't be too perfect, but it also shouldn't glide on our door handle. That looks really weird, and I don't know. I'm just going to put in some more time to make it perfect, just like this. Of course, you guys can use as much time as you want and make it very perfect, or you can even track the door handle, but for tracking I will show you this later in the second video, which you've seen in the beginning of this video. So we got this ready, our little guy almost perfect. So let's trim down our squinched eyes again, copy our normal eyes and go to the beginning of our comp and parent it to the controller again. It's very important that you go to the beginning. So now let's drag out these normal eyes. Oops, a bit longer of course. And shrink down this so it switches again from squinched eyes, bang, back to normal eyes. So now we can copy, oh no, we can't copy multiple keyframes, so just copy this one keyframe by selecting it and pressing Ctrl C or Command C. Do this with the other arm as well. And now bring down the keyframes, the rotation back to 0, so he kind of stretches his arms out again. Because my hand is not on the door handle anymore and he doesn't have to fear anything. Just like this. So let's actually animate the mouth again. Press G to get the pen tool in After Effects and hold down Shift while dragging on this anchor point so that you can get those two handles and make him laugh again. Oops, delete this keyframe right there and make sure to align it with the others. Yep, just like this. And in the beginning he's laughing and then switching to a sad mouth right there, sad mouth expression. And once I let go of the door handle, I want him to change his mouth again to the happy face. So all we need to do now is use our keyframe that we've just created and press Ctrl C and paste it by pressing Ctrl V. There we go. And he's laughing again. Always use keyframes or always reuse keyframes that you've already set because you can save some time there. And now let's do the thing with the eyes again. We're bringing them down and go to the very beginning of the composition. Select the layer, press Ctrl C and Ctrl V and parent it to the controller. Yep. Let's drag out our comp and drag out these squinched eyes to around there. Make it small again so it doesn't overlap with the other eyes. Bring it right to the end and to the beginning of our normal eyes. So now as the door gets shut and it kind of vibrates, he's closing his eyes again because it will hurt the door handle when the door gets shut so hard. And now let's copy our mouth keyframes again, so he kind of makes the sad face again. There we go. Of course, we can reuse our keyframes again, as well as for the sad mouth, so just copy that. And boom, he kind of looks sad right there. Poor little guy. Also copy the keyframes of our arms, because now we want him to look sad again, so he puts his arm together again. Copy these as well, so the animation is given right there. Boom. Little guy pushes his arms together, eyes are squinched, mouth is sad. And let's copy the keyframes right there, so the transitioning is very fast. And now let's drag out the arms and we're going to put them in again. Basically making multiple keyframes because of the rotation. When the door is shut, he's moving his arms like crazy. Just like this, go a few frames ahead and rotate it in again. So let's quickly render this. There it goes, looks very cute. Because of the vibration, he kind of shakes his arms as well, as if it would hurt him. Imagination is a very huge part in these videos right there. And it's basically the key to creating these cute animations. So let's bring back his arms to the normal state, because here everything is fine again. And let's copy our keyframes for the mouth again, because the vibration is gone, my hand is gone, and everything is fine, back to normal again. So he can stretch his arms out, go back from the squinched eyes to the normal eyes. And let's go back to the beginning, Ctrl C and Ctrl V to copy our eyes, parent it to the controller and drag it out right to the end. Boom, switches back to normal eyes. Spread it out the arms and he's laughing again. So basically everything's done now. Let's render this really quickly. Awesome. Except for the position at the end. As you can see, when I start the animation, it's a bit more to the left, and when it's ended, it's a bit more to the right. So we should try to adjust our controller there. As you can see, right there and right there, there's a lot of difference. So we should try to adjust this. We can go into our controller and change the position, or just drag it a bit down right, just like this. Make sure to make your controller visible so you can actually see what you're dragging. And yeah, almost perfect if you compare it with the beginning and the end. So drag it down a little bit more, just like this. Yeah, and that should be enough now. Fit up to 100% scale so we can see everything, and let's render this real quick. A RAM preview. Yep, just like this. Okay, it looks kind of weird that he slides at the end, as you can see right there. Yeah. Okay, so let's bring some structure in here and close all the little keyframes that we've set right here. And now let's grab everything from our controller to the squinched eyes, press Ctrl C and Ctrl V to make copies. And let's first of all rename our controller to grab the doodle by the noodle. Hashtag grab the doodle by the noodle into the comments if you've watched until here. And select everything that we've just copied and hit right click, pre-compose, move all attributes to the new comp, and there we go. You can see your doodle without a background because it's now in a comp. And make sure to hide the backup layers right there, because these are just a backup, because now we want to mask our shapes right there. So press G while you are having the pre-comp selected, and just like in Illustrator, use the pen tool to create a mask so my hand actually covers our little character. Yeah. So since we've created the mask now, make sure to select pre-comp and press M to invert it because it was showing the wrong part. Now select the mask and press F to change the feather of the mask so it kind of matches the motion blur of our camera right there. Now make sure to keyframe the path, the mask path, so scroll it down until you see the mask and then hit the stopwatch at the path. Double click on the path and bring it up a bit. And as you can see, now my hand comes down to our character right there. And it kind of goes over our little friend. Go a few frames ahead and bring down the mask again. You can grab the whole mask by double clicking on it. That's very important, guys. There are multiple options to manipulate a mask. Okay, there it should, our character should be gone completely because my hand is completely over it. So let's go a few frames ahead and drag down the whole mask again. Just like this, few frames ahead. Drag the mask again. There it should be covered as well. So let's zoom in a little bit because this is further away. A few frames ahead. And here I'm actually letting off the door handle so the mask should partly be showing our character. So now we need to actually manipulate the mask itself, not just move it. So click on this anchor point right there, just like this, while having the pen tool selected and pressing Alt, and you can manipulate the single handles right there, just like this. Now I'm pressing nothing, I'm just dragging the handles. And what we need to do now is press V to double click on our mask right there, and now we can move it again. And as you can see, After Effects transitions between our keyframes and interpolates so that the mask adapts to our changes. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, now drag it a bit to the right, and here it should be visible completely. And with it, I mean our little character. So double click. Ooh, what's happening? Press enter if something messed up. And now select your shape again and the whole mask and drag it to the top right because it should be always visible now. I know, guys, the pen tool and mask can feel a bit weird and tricky from time to time, but don't feel unsafe or anything. You can always go back in time by pressing Ctrl and Z and revert your steps, so there's no problem at all. Just try it out and you're good to go. Actually, all you need are the keys G to get the pen tool, Alt and Shift to manipulate single points and the handles of them, and that's basically all there is to it. No magic, right? So, looks awesome, right? Just as I let go of the door handle, it appears again, and when my hand comes over the handle, it's gone. Boom, just like this. Oh, there's a little issue right there. You can see part of our character, so make sure to bring down or adjust the mask again. Perfect. Easy fix. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to select all of our layers, right click them, go to pre-compose, and let's call this footage and doodle. Hit OK. Now make sure to see the comp that we've just created. There it is. So everything's perfectly comped up into the footage and doodle composition. So we can soon start to animate our position right here to kind of fake a camera pan. But first of all, let's change our composition settings to a 1:1 ratio from 1920 to 1080. Very typical for Instagram. And now we can adjust the position right there. because I want to fake a camera pan right now. I'm going to move the composition a few frames to the left, a few pixels to the left, and yeah, here I actually want to bring it to the top left, just like this, and a bit to the left again, so it's always in the middle. And a little camera move is faked, so if you play this, you can see it looks like as if we would pan around in the scene, but it was a stable shot. So let's bring this right to the left. There we go. Okay, now let's click on our position property and alt click the stopwatch so we can type in an expression. And now type wiggle open bracket 5,5 close bracket semicolon and hit enter. This is a basic expression from After Effects to kind of make the footage wiggle a little bit. As you can see, it gets shaky right there, and this adds to the fake camera movement. Okay, now let's go to the Effects and Presets panel and type in noise and drag and drop it onto our footage. And add 10% non-colored noise, because this will also get applied onto our little character, which adds a little bit of realism, although it obviously is a little drawing, but it adds to it. And there is the little guy coming in. So now press S on our footage and click the stopwatch, of course, because we want to animate it again. And we're animating the scale now to zoom into our little guy right there. So here it should be zoomed right. Yeah, copy that keyframe, bring it a bit to the front so it is a fast zoom and not a slow one. Now let's drag this in, and as you can see, we need to adjust this because we don't want to see transparent areas there. The transparent areas are caused because of our zooming and the wiggling. So you make sure to check your footage so that there are no transparent areas. And there we go, finished. Nice square video with our doodle on it. Looks cute, noisy, typical Instagram video, as if this would be a real door handle, and even a fake camera movement by wiggling around and panning around in the scene. So make sure to save it and let's go to our next project. Okay, there we are. Let's drag in our footage and drag that footage onto our composition icon so After Effects creates a perfect composition for our footage. And let's bring our out point a bit to the left and right click trim comp to work area so it's perfectly adjusted. Of course, this depends on your footage and you can adjust it however you want to. I'm worried about this time code, so go to composition settings and zero out the start time code if it's somehow messed up for you, because that should be on 0 so you can see the right frames. Okay, now let's save the frame again, composition, save frame as, or at first let's save our project actually, so Ctrl S, living objects tutorial 2. I know, very creative. Now go to save frame as again, file, and hit render. It's in the same destination, and drag it into Illustrator. There we go. So, as I've told you, always reuse your already created stuff. So copy our character by pressing Ctrl and C, but don't paste it in. First of all, make sure to dim our background image to 50% and also lock the layer. Now create a new layer and press Ctrl V to paste in our character, which we've copied before. And now let's line everything up. Hold down Shift and Alt while having everything selected to scale it down proportionally and perfectly. Press R to rotate the whole thingy and use the arrow keys to kind of move it in small amounts. Okay, let's zoom in and let's change the arms from 15 points to 12. Somehow they don't look too good, and the mouth to 10. And the squinched eyes, let's see, 7 points should be good as well. So let's get rid of the arms because they don't look too good, so delete them both and just create a new one by pressing P and using the pen tool again. So drag out a nice round shape right there. Press V to let go of our pen tool so we are not creating another anchor point. Hold down Alt, hold down Shift and O to reflect it again and bring it right to our pencil. Yeah, looks funny. Let's delete the left one because the right shape's also not perfect, so make it a bit more round. Select it again. Let's change the weight to 9 or even yeah, 10 looks better. Bring it right to the pencil. Hold down Alt, drag it to the left, Shift O, reflect it, and there you go. Use the arrow keys to position it perfectly. Alright, our little guy is finished as well. He looks super nice, and all we need to do now is go into our layers again. Let's drag this up, click on the little icon right there and hit release layers to sequence. Delete our group and let's rename them left arm, right arm, squinched eyes, mouth, and normalize again. And yeah, let's hide our background layer again. Hit Ctrl S and call it drawing2.ai and don't change anything, just save it. Now let's import this. Yeah, get rid of our render queue item right there again and double click in our project and import our drawing as a composition. And drag in the files. Right click, create shapes from vector layer, just like we did in the first video. And now we can delete our AI files again. Create a new null, because this will be our controller again, but this time drag it first right to the mouth. Right click, rename controller. Drag it down again. And select all these shapes, go to the beginning and parent them to our controller right there. And with this video, we are going to save a lot of time actually. Because first of all, disable all your layers, go to Window Tracker, select your footage and go to Track Motion. Now your window change a little bit and make sure to drag out these weird rectangles because this is the area where it searches for your trackable point. And we are searching for a point which has a very high contrast. And as you can see, the pencil is really high contrasty in relation to the white paper, so it will track it very perfectly. And this edge right there of the pencil paper and the real wood is perfect for this. So now go to Analyze, one frame forward. And if it messes up, guys, if it wiggles around in the whole composition, make sure to always readjust it to the point where you started at. For me, the starting point was between the paper and the wood, so always readjust it to there. Now click at Edit Target and make it to our null object, which we created in the beginning. And now hit apply dimensions X and Y, and now we got all the tracking information right into our null object. And as you can see, if you now drag around, our little guy is just stuck perfectly to our pencil right there. And once the pencil hits the paper, it is as if our little pencil would lose blood because the graphite in this pencil is his blood and he gets hurt. So once he touches the paper, he should make the sad mouth and the squinched eyes. So until or as long as he's in the air, he will be super happy. So give him a laughing mouth and twirl down everything again to the path and click on the stopwatch to make a keyframe. Twirl down the right arm again and the left arm as well. Oh yeah, that's wrong. Ctrl Z to go back. We don't want the eyes to be animated. We want the left arm. There it is. Scroll it down, go to path, hit the stopwatch, and there we go. So by pressing Ctrl and A, you are selecting every single layer, and by pressing U, each layer with active keyframes is getting twirled down or getting expanded. But close the properties of the footage and the controller because we don't need them right now. We just need the left arm, mouth, and right arm. Here it hits the ground, so here it should also change his eyes and his mouth. So copy the keyframe a bit to the front. Now press G to get the pen tool and hold down Alt while dragging on this anchor point on the left to create a sad facial expression. Sometimes it differs from Mac to Windows. I don't know if it's Shift or Alt right now, or Option it's also called. Alt and Option is the same. Yeah. Just try it out with Shift and Alt. I will add a translation in the description below. So let's bring the eyes to the front again and let's bring the mouth up so it's just sorted a bit better. So you can see the eyes a little bit better. And now let's enable our squinched eyes again. And right when we touch the paper, he switches his mouth and his eyes and looks super sad and hurt. So, as you can see, we need to go to our controller and adjust the anchor point because during our tracking it kind of moved up a little bit, but we want it to be right down there at the pencil. So all you need to do is adjust the anchor point, not the position, because we just put the position keyframes from our tracking into our null. If you're now changing the position, the whole track gets messed up, so just adjust the anchor point. And there we go, looks perfect. So now let's go into our arms and let's copy the keyframe. Oh, sorry, I forgot we can't copy multiple keyframes, not even when you're selecting them both. So make sure to copy them one by one. Ctrl C and Ctrl V. And right when he gets pushed to the left, his arms should also be flying to the left because of the gravity right there. And we also need to change our anchor points of the arms again. So make sure to select them, and I'm going to my move anchor point tool again, or you can use the pen behind tool. So bring it to the top right, and for the right arm to the top left, because that's where the shoulder would be. So now let's animate our little arms. So when he gets dragged to the left, the arms should also fly to the left. To the right in the beginning, sorry. And right at the end, they should be totally at the left. It's kind of just your imagination now here. Yeah, we are slowly getting there. Of course, we need to set more keyframes and make it more precise, but that's up to you guys. You get the time to change this and make it perfect. I just want to show you the techniques. So let's change the arms a little bit more. If he's going left, they should be going to the right again. Yep. Just like this. It looks so funny, man. Go a few frames ahead and adjust the rotation all the time, just like that, and here as well. Let's get a quick RAM preview. Wee. Alright, let's drag out the whole composition, and right at the end, when we're letting go of the whole movement so that he's not hurt anymore, he needs to change back his arms to 0 state or 0 rotation, of course, because he should be at the normal state again. And let's copy the keyframes no. Let's actually change the eyes at first. So bring back these squinched eyes, and now we can copy the mouth keyframe so he's laughing again. Just like this. And now go to the beginning of the composition, Ctrl C, copy our eyes, and Ctrl V of course. Parent it to our controller and shrink down the whole layer to be just visible at the end right there. Now he switches back to his normal arms, his laughing mouth, and his normal eyes, and let's adjust the anchor point a little bit more. We can even animate it to be, oops, let's go back. Yeah, here it should be perfect. And if we're going back a few frames, maybe here in the middle, you can see it's a bit off again. So make sure to bring the keyframes a bit ahead so it's always right there in the middle. Somewhere during the track it must have messed up, so as you can see you can adjust it by adjusting the anchor point of our little guy right there. So let's hide our controller and do a quick RAM preview again. And there he goes, he wiggles around, and in the end he has his normal state again. So if you're putting in some more time now, you can adjust the arms right here as well. And I'm fast forwarding this. As you can see, boom, there we go. Animating his little arms to match to the motion of the pencil. And there we go, the finished video. Let's do a quick RAM preview, of course, it needs some time now. Yeah, looks super cute. Make sure to save the project, and if you liked it guys, leave a comment, like and subscribe. Until the next time, ArmaganVideos.